Welcome everyone to our June beginner training. Maggie is here also to field the questions. One announcement, we will be releasing our 1.3.2 updated version. Of course, we recommend with any kind of update that you do your case backup, which is easy enough to do. I'll run through how you do that. It's not it's not something you have to do, but anytime you do anything like that, we recommend that you back up your cases. You come into user preferences and click on backup and restore, and it's just click on backup and window, and I've already got my folder selected. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you get the green message. So once you get that green message, then you know that you've backed up your cases successfully. All right, Maggie, are there any questions to get us started?
Sorry, Lucy, not at the moment.
Okay. Well, now's the time, guys. We've got a small group today, so any question you have at all, I welcome, and I'm happy to look at a case with you, or try to find a rubric with you, or any of that. So I'll just get started myself. I sat in on a consultation of a relative recently, and even though I didn't take the case myself, I heard the whole case, and I wrote down some of the things, that the other homeopath was finding. It's a case of long-term Lyme, probably of 15 years duration. It's neurological. And the main symptom that seems to be the one that's the most bothersome, there's several, but the main one is the head symptoms. There's a heaviness in the head. And so if I was taking the case, I could come up here and type heavy, and we can filter that in the head chapter by typing the word head, waiting for the drop-down menu. You can see where my cursor is. It's right there. I haven't put a space after the D in head. It's just right there blinking right on the D. That makes my drop-down menu appear. And then I come down here and I head section. This is going to allow me to filter so that I'm only getting a result in the head section. Because, you could have heavy all over the repertory, but the one I want to hone in on is heaviness in the head chapter. And so to activate this with the filter, I'm simply going to click on this magnifying glass icon. You can also hit the return key or the enter key on your keyboard. And here's the result. Now, I think one of the things you'll notice in 132 is that your search terms are also purple in the repertory tab. This is another change. And you can see that heaviness, I put the word heavy, but heaviness, so a related word, came in. And so here we have head, heaviness, and that's a very large rubric. So if you know more detail, you can certainly scroll through the result and you can see what else applies that maybe is a little bit more pertinent to the case and can give you a smaller rubric. And it goes alphabetically, head, heaviness, but then after that, you see it's all alphabetical. So that's how, if you have something in mind, you can scroll right to it. But I'm just kind of slowly scrolling to just kind of get an idea. Certainly no convulsions are involved. It doesn't happen from food or drink. It's actually better in the evening. Head heaviness ameliorated in the evening is only one rubric though. So I'll just not probably take that right now, but just actually I'll take it. So to take this to the clipboard, I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to hit return on my keyboard, and that you can see has opened up a clipboard over here. And the little purple sub one shows that that one rubric is on there right now. I might want to, since that's so small, I probably would want to combine that with a generalities amelioration in the evening. But I'm going to take that one as well. heaviness as if falling. Now she did use the word falling. She used the word bowling ball. We can certainly search that word, but she said it felt like a bowling ball was on her shoulders, and that she held her head quite a bit. That she had trouble just keeping it from wobbling. It felt like it was falling. And so I'm going to take this rubric. And again, I like the word as if there, because it's not as if her head was actually falling. It felt like it was a sensation. It was as if. So see here, I see it says heaviness, the head falls forward. That wasn't happening. It's not an actual falling, but it's an as if falling. She also has heaviness in her forehead, and the other place was the occiput. So I'm going to scroll on down to O's. And, you can either scroll, or you could come up here and you could put occiput heavy. Let's do that. I'll show you. We'll hone in on just that one part of the head. And I'm going to activate this search in a new tab with the plus sign there. And here we have it right here. So, if you're somebody who wants to scroll and kind of review a large amount of rubrics, you can do that, or you can hone in. So head, heaviness, occiput. And I'm going to take that to the clipboard. Now, earlier I did search the word bowling ball, but that wasn't part of the repertories. So that didn't come up. Actually, I didn't look in the Materia Medica for that, but you could put ball sensation or weight sense. You could also look for things like weight. So I could come up here. I could also look at the word weight. And now those aren't synonyms, but I'm just, just playing around here. It's fun to kind of play around sometimes and see what you get. A ball sensation. I mean, that's not quite, it's more the weight, really, I think. So let me see. Heaviness as from a weight. I like that. I like that rubric a lot for the head. So I'm going to hit return for that one. And so you see how I'm finding these rubrics that are pertinent to the case. I've honed in on the chapter. And I'm just playing around with the words up here to try to find that exact rubric that I want. Any questions?
Lucy,
Yeah.
Lucy, could you explain again why head is in blue?
Yes, absolutely. That's because the word head is a filter. I placed that filter, and I'll show you how again, so that my result only has the head chapter. You can see if I open any one of these repertories, only the head chapter is showing because I have filtered for head only. And the way I did that was, I'm going to erase it. H-E-A-D, I spell it up there. It's in black right now, black type right now. My cursor is right there next to the D after head. I haven't put a space. If you put a space, you won't get the drop down. And you see the drop down, I have all these choices. Head external, head internal. I'm going to just go ahead and choose the head section. If it was something externally on the head, you could maybe come down here and do external. Now there's some repertories that maybe don't have external head chapter. So those would be missing. So you're pretty safe to get everything if you do a head section. I'm going to go ahead and take external head and just see what we get. I'm curious myself. So here I've got this. And I'm going to activate this search by hitting the plus sign. And you can see now a weight and a ball probably isn't on the external head, so I'm not getting anything. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And, something like eruption could certainly be found on external head. Let's activate this one. So you can see how this narrows it down. Oh, okay, head external isn't coming up either. Okay, that's something I might want to talk to development about, because I know you can have eruptions on your, like if I were to choose instead just the basic head one, I know we're going to get eruption. Head section. You can see I chose that top one. Activate this. And so you can see, that comes up. So that's how I filtered.
Lucy, I did pain head external and I got results
In
on that.
the external.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Was it just pain? Straight up pain?
Yes, just pain. Yeah. It's just from the World Vet Rep,
Ah, okay.
but you'll see it.
Did you get it in your repertories or your references?
I got it in my repertories.
I wonder what.
Maybe you don't have it. Oh, sorry. Did I get it?
I might not have New World Vet Rep.
Yeah, I got it in my
selected.
rep.
That's the only repertory you got it in?
Yes.
Okay. So if you come over here, Maggie was saying that she found a result in one particular book, the New World Vet Rep, which I actually currently don't have in my list. But the whole point of this is it's a very good idea that when you're filtering, just go for that. I went for the head chapter, because here in this book, The Complete 2023, you can see that there is no head external and no head internal chapters. And that's why that didn't come up, in this book. Come over to the reliable. Again, you've got a head chapter. You have a throat internal and external. So if you were to choose one of those in the reliable, let's do that. Let's do pain, and I'm going to do throat. We're going to wait for the drop down, and I'm going to choose the internal throat. All right, and I'm going to activate this search. It should come up. You can see the repertory tab is already lit up. There it is, reliable repertory, throat internal, because reliable has a throat internal chapter. So you'd get a lot more result if you had only put throat up there. I hope that makes sense to everybody. That when you're looking at that drop down, just keep it simple and choose either head or throat, or keep it simple.
Actually, just a related question while you're in the search, Yves is just asking, are there any other new features for the search in the new version of SHS?
Well, there's nothing in the global search, just that purple that you saw. Over here in repertory, when you go into the chapters, you can see how that this is not new. You've got this. So if I put the word fear up here, I could find a rubric that has the word fear in it. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to activate. You can see here, I'm going to click on that little search icon next to the word fear in this window. And now you can see you've got all the rubrics that have that word fear. Now, let's say you wanted to do fear dark. Here is something that's coming. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's a tool that was in MacRep Reference Works, actually Mac Repertory, excuse me. And I never used it, so I'm not as familiar with it. And so I'd have to kind of, maybe next time, maybe next month, I can study it thoroughly and have a lot of examples for you so that I can go into depth on this. But for instance, if I have two words up here and I say match all words, match both of those words, that means it's going to find, let me just activate this. That means it's finding all the instances of those two words in the rubrics. So we will cover this once 132 is out and once I have a lot of good examples for you. So that will be a new feature, this right here. Anything else, Maggie, right now?
While you're doing the searches, Magda was just asking what was the difference between, if you're up on your global search bar there, what is the difference between pressing return after pain throat internal in order to activate your search, or pressing on the plus button?
Very good question. If let's go into global search. All right, you can see I've got 3 tabs here from 3 of the searches that I've run. If I were to just continually just continue to hit the magnifying glass search icon or return or enter on my keyboard, I would only have 1 tab. The new search would just continually replace the 1 tab that I have. Keep that search so that you can go back to it very easily by clicking on the tab. I'm going to get rid of the one with the ball because I don't think that had much. But let's say I wanted to go back to heavy head. I could just click on that tab and it would take me right back to that search. The way that you have multiple tabs in global search is if you've clicked the plus sign. Let's do another one. I'll show you. So another symptom she had was blurry vision. Blurry, and again, we'll practice filtering. I'm going to type the word vision. I'm going to wait for the drop down. I'm going to choose the vision section there. Now I'm going to hit the plus sign and you'll see that's going to open a 3rd tab. It doesn't override one of my current tabs if I hit the plus sign. And you see that it says open a new tab when you hover your mouse over the plus sign. Now, that's not the only way to filter in global search, of course. That's the quick filter. And the reason I really like the filter up in the global search bar is because it will filter both in repertory tab as well as reference library tab. I'm still wondering why there's no result in the repertory tab on that one. Maggie, any ideas?
Blurred, maybe if you use blurred vision.
Okay. Let's try that. And I'm actually, now see, this time I'm not going to open a new tab. I want to override this tab because it has a result that I don't like. So I'm going to actually override that tab I have there by hitting the search, not the plus. There you go. Okay, now this is something that I think is going to be corrected. We've had a discussion about this. The word blurry should bring up the word blurred as well. And if you'll notice when I put heavy, it did bring up heaviness. So these are some little tweaks that we have been discussing with development, and their improvements to come down the road. Thank you, Maggie, for pointing that out.
You want to show on your search there, Lucy, how you could put in blurred/blurry.
Yes, and so it's a good idea to use synonyms in the global search bar because that way you're covering all your bases. So do it like this. In the / you either use the keyboard shortcut of the / on your keyboard, or you can come over here to the, let me see, the zoom bar is in the way, this icon here, add proximity, and click on that to get the drop down. And then you have or, the / equals or, and that allows the program to look at blurred or blurry, and it's going to bring up the result of both. So let's go ahead and activate this search. And you see blurred. Now I'm not sure that there's no blurry in the repertories because remember we got no result when we only used blurry. But let's hop over to reference library tab, and blurred seems to be the word.
I
It's
saw
interesting.
some blurry there. Yeah.
Yeah. You see a blurry, did you say?
I did it back at the beginning. There was a blurry. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. There, right? No, in the beginning. There. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Riley. Riley uses the word blurry. If you want to go explore more about that, one click on this line with Riley. Ah, interesting. I'm going to double click, doesn't give you much there. I'm going to double click and just kind of go back and go to reference library now and see what this is all about. Interesting.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and Riley's proving, you can see under vision, blurry. You can see now that I'm in reference library. If you come over here to the left side, reference library. So to get to global search to a reference, out of a reference library search in global search, you double click a line and it takes you to that reference. Any questions?
If someone here is asking, what remedy is it? Aconitum acidicum, is it?
Oh yeah, so if you're wondering what it is, I mean, I could go to global search and look, but you can also, my Zoom bar is in the way, Maggie. Can you see when I hover?
It says Riley's proving up there, but I'm looking at the panel on the left-hand side, which is showing me what the remedy is there.
Right. Oh, there you go. But do you see it on a status bar as well?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's aconitum aceto
Yes.
right
Yes.
here. So you see it right
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
It came in on, you can see it on the left side. You could also pop back over to global search and you can see it right here as well on the left panel, far left side, right here.
Sai is saying that in Mac repertory search feature, we have a sort feature for rubric name, number of remedies, grade, etc. Is this supported in SHS?
Do you mean on the clipboard? So I've collected some rubrics here. And
Yes, she's saying yes.
okay. And you're wanting to
Sort them.
sort them.
Oh, according to section and grade, I guess.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So you can see here, you can choose by section and grade. And you can grade a rubric by just highlighting, right click. Here's one way to do it. If you right click, you get the menu option and you can come here and you can grade. Let's say that the falling sensation was the strongest. And so I wanted to give that rubric a 3. That's popping it up to here at the top because I have them sorted by grade. I have the rubrics sorted by grade. They're all the head sections, so that would be hard to show in this instance. I'd have to put some more sections there to show that. But yes, you can sort by grade. The keyboard shortcut for that is, I'm going to highlight this again. I'm going to hit 0. That took the grade off. I could also just type 3 on my keyboard and that puts it back on. Or you can do the right click to the menu and grade that way if you're not remembering. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go back to my global search, to my repertory tab, and I'm going to go ahead and put the blurred on the clipboard by hitting return. Okay, that was added. Let's go find, any questions so far?
We have some questions about the graph when you get to the graph, but we can
Okay.
hold on until you get there.
Let me find one more. She's also very sensitive, light sensitive, and particularly artificial light. You know, I want to hone in on that artificial light idea. So I'm gonna, now I know the old time rubrics, old time repertories aren't going to have artificial light mentioned, but they have gaslight mentioned. So maybe I want to do a slash gaslight, you know. I wonder if I should do light. I'll try this. Let's try this. Just curious to see what comes up. And I'm going to, of course, it always comes in on the mind section. It goes, in the order of the icons. I'm going to go down to the eyes first. Here we go. Eyes, artificial light aggravates. That's exactly what I want. It doesn't cause pain per se. It's just she has to wear sunglasses because it's just too much. It could be a pain, possibly.
Sorry, Lucy, gaslight is actually one word in Synergy. I just looked, so that's
Oh,
going to
thank
be
you.
even
Let's
more
put that
results.
together. And we'll go back down to the eyes. And see, now you've got the gaslight where it's together. And the artificial and okay, let's get back over to the clipboard. And what question did we have about the graph?
Like the bar graph, can we look at the various different options that there are for various different graphs in
Of course,
SHS?
yes. I have the number graph on. It shows the grade of the remedy clearly, but if that bothers you, if you just want to go with your colors, you can take off the numbers. So you have the waffle graph option, the number graph option. Here's the bar graph. And then you've got the multi-graph. And so what this does is it gives you an accounting of all these different strategies in one view. So, you can go to these one at a time and look at the main graph, choosing one, or you can look at them all together like this in a snapshot. And, there are ways to add to this, but that's more advanced. So we won't go there today. Maybe I'll talk to Rupali about talking about that one. So those are the choices. Let's get back to the waffle graph.
Helene is asking, where can you select small remedies?
Okay, so did you see that right here? Small remedy. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit OK. And now you can see that the much smaller remedies are in the forefront.
Okay, thank you.
Most rubrics considering intensity really only applies if you have your rubrics graded. So I'm just going to put it on most rubrics right now, get it back to that view. Any more questions about the clipboard?
No.
Or the graph? Okay. Filtering, I was going to come up here and say that, of course, let me close the clipboard for the moment. Filtering up here, I've shown you how to do the quick filter where you turn the word blue. Now, let's say that that was for a section. Let's say, or if you're wondering, maybe you're trying to decide between a few remedies. You've come to a few remedies. You can actually also filter more comprehensively in global search with this icon here. You open this up. You have to choose now here. Do I want this filter to apply repertory tab or my reference library tab? It can only do one at a time when you do it comprehensively like this. And so let's say you want to find all the rubrics. So you're in repertories here. You've selected repertories. You want to find out if zinc, let's say you're honing in on a few and you're wanting to know, by the way, I'm going to put a period after zinc to come to the zinc that I want, that main one, zincum metallicum. You could certainly scroll to find it, but it's just so much easier to find it with just by putting that period. And another remedy that had come up was in the case, and I'm thinking about the actual case. I'm not looking at my own clipboard because I hadn't finished that. So I'm just thinking of some rubrics that had come up, some remedies, that search a little bit. And I'm wanting to know if any of these do apply to the artificial and the gas light and the gaslight.
There's a question here, gaslight, does that translate as artificial light today? Because gaslight before had different concerns.
That's a good question. I'm not sure I 100% know the answer to that. They may not be something that you could equate, you know. Fluorescent light is certainly different from gaslight.
And I guess it depends on the authors of the various books and their interpretation.
Right, exactly. So you can see that this is more comprehensive. I've actually selected multiple remedies. If you just have one remedy that you're trying to look at a symptom about, you can certainly put a remedy name here. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish this out, then I'll show you. So in order to see that I have all the ones that I wanted, I'm just going to double check by clearing this type to search window and clicking on this little eye within the filter here. And you can just double check and see that you got everything. Once you've done that, you don't have to check, but if you like to check things, you can do. I'm going to hit apply. Okay. And so the filter is set. You can tell because the purple is lit up. When a filter isn't set over here, it's this circle is blue. Now, if I just wanted to look at one remedy in relation to artificial light and gaslight, I could have typed it up here in the global search and turned that remedy name blue. But since I'm looking for multiple remedies, it was more comprehensive. That's why I came over here. And so let's trigger this with that filter with all those remedies that I placed in it. Okay. And you can see it comes in on head pain. So if the artificial light creates a headache, that's certainly interesting to remember about zinc. Let's go to eyes. And you can see that 3 of those remedies that I put in are aggravated by artificial light. Calcarea is aggravated in the evening, causes pain. Pain is caused by gaslight. Now, that's interesting because, calcarea is one of the older remedies, but anyway, that's just me thinking. Here we have lamplight, artificial light, lamplight. Would you think that a lamplight could be a gas light as well? What lamps were lit by gas? So it's interesting that you've got those together in this rubric, or is that connection too weak? And another thing you can do actually is you can find out who the authors are. You can find out who put these remedies in these rubrics. You can see that calcarea has, all of these have asterisks. And so what you can do is right click. And I'm going to go view this. Actually, what you do is go back to the repertory. So I'm in global search. I'm going to double click, to get myself to the repertory. And now I'm going to, we were on Nux Mouchata, which is, I'm going to show more. And now I'm going to right click on Nux Mouchata, go to the reference string. I want to see who put that remedy in that rubric. And it's thinking. Okay, Bunninghausen. So that's something to remember if you're curious, well, who put that remedy in that rubric and where did that come from? It's the reference string is an excellent resource. But you access it through repertory module. If you notice, I didn't have that option when I come back to global search. You're told that yes, this does have an asterisk, and that means it has a reference string. but you can't access the reference string here in global search. You have to go back to the repertory module to see it. I hope that makes sense. Any other questions about anything, anything that we've done here today or anything unrelated to what we've done here today?
Frederick has a question about printing the graph or printing the clipboard. If you have a lot of rubrics, how to print them all at once?
Okay, how many are we talking? This obviously would be very easy to print. You know, I think, I'm trying to think, Maggie, if I were to take this to a chart and print it from the chart, would it show all of them, do you think? Here, right here in the clipboard, you can print the graph, but you have to get over to the chart to print, unless you do a screenshot, you know, you can always do a screenshot. But if the rubrics are so numerous that they are, you know, you have to scroll to see all of them, one option maybe would be to change the fonts, make it smaller. So here I have clipboard fonts and I'm on 16 right now. If I made that smaller, oops, okay, that made the graph smaller. Okay.
If you zoom out, Lucy.
You can zoom out. So you can start zooming out so that you can see some more. And you can grab that bottom corner on the clipboard and bring it down as much as you can. I think that's about as far as mine goes. So you can grab the right corner and the clipboard down, you can zoom out. That will allow you to see more rubrics here. But let's go to a chart. I'm just curious to see. Maggie, do you have experience printing from the chart?
I don't print a lot, being honest.
Okay, I'm just going to open one of my test charts here and get a clipboard open. Okay. And you see here, you can download the session, print the session. You can play around with this and see what you get. You know, I just see if the whole thing prints or if you have to actually go into the clipboard and scroll up to get the rest of it. Maybe Frederick, you've already done that and you can share with us.
Or maybe we can have a look at it and come back to Frederick.
We can certainly do that as well.
Going back to staying where you are there, Magda wants to know, what is the difference between updating a file and saving as new?
Good question, yeah. So let's say you've got a case, you've got a chart that's already established, and somebody comes back for a follow-up and you do a whole new clipboard. In that instance, maybe you'd want to save that as a new session, meaning it would create a third line. You see, I've got 2 lines here. Let's go ahead and put this clipboard that I have, clipboard number 1 with 7 rubrics. I'll show you what I mean. Let's pretend like that's a follow-up clipboard. And I'm going to hit save as new. And those 2 other clipboards are older clipboards from this chart. You can certainly include them in the new session if you don't want to have to go back to prior sessions, or if you want to keep things clean, take those off because those are the older clipboards. And I'm selecting just this one new clipboard for this save as new session. I'm going to hit save here. And you can see what happened. Another consultation date appeared with today's date and the time. This is the Eastern time that I'm in. And it's got the one clipboard, the new clipboard in it. To go find those 2 older clipboards, you would simply click on an older session line. I'm going to go to the second session line. That's where those 2 older clipboards resided. And that's how you find those. To get to the new one, click on the new session line. Okay, and so let's say that you've got this new session started, and you just remembered, oh, wait a minute, I did want to add one different rubric to that clipboard. And so let's say that you come up here and you want to find another symptom was loss of taste. And so you go and you find this other symptom that you want to put on clipboard number 1 to make 8 rubrics on it. Let's go find that. And I'm going to say, okay, wanting lost. So I'm going to take that first rubric and I'm going to hit enter so that it too will go onto my clipboard. Okay, you see how it got added to that clipboard. Now I'm going to come over here to patient management. And I don't want to hit save as new, because what that would do is create a 4th session line with today's date. And then I'd have 2 sessions with today's date. I don't want that. What I want to do is update this current session line that I have. So now I'm going to hit update. And yes, that's the clipboard I want to update. I'm going to hit save. And now this clipboard with 8 rubrics, whereas before 7, we had saved it with 7. Now it has been saved in an update to this session line. Now it's the 8 rubrics are on there and have been saved. Is that clear?
Is that okay, Magda? If you have another question, just let us know.
Any other questions, Maggie?
Not at the moment, Lucy.
Okay. I will show you how the 8, let's close this chart. And you see what happens. The clipboards that you've saved, any clipboard you have saved to a chart disappears once you close out of that. But you can easily find that again. It was this chart here. We're going to open it. And you can see my 3 session lines. And I'm going to click on this latest one to get back to my clipboard with 8 rubrics. There it is. They always appear back on the left side. You just click on them to open them. So I hope that everyone is clear on, how to filter in global search. We covered that. How to use synonyms in global search, and filter both simply as well as comprehensively. We can turn this filter off in global search simply by clicking on that purple circle, and you can see it turned blue again. And now that filter is gone. Is there any other rubric maybe that somebody would like me to find, or any other explanation? We also learned in global search how to, from the reference library, how to go from one of the references over to the reference library, and also how to, from repertory tab, go from one of the rubrics that you find in global search to the repertory module and land on that particular rubric. So, I mean, it's easy enough to bounce over here and find things, but if you want to go directly to a reference or directly to a rubric that you've found in global search, it's just a matter of double clicking on a line. And we learned how to change your view a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and reset my Zoom. We had zoomed out, and you just simply reset Zoom when you want to get back to normal. If you'll notice, I have my, on the reference, let me go over here to reference library. One thing I wanted to show also, when you want to change the size of your font so that you can read something in a little bit bigger font, you can, in the reference library, you've got the eye that will allow you to change that. I currently have my font size set rather high, but you can make it higher. You can bring it back down. I think the norm is, something like 14 maybe. So this is how you would change the the font when you're trying to read Materia Medica. You know, sometimes it's a lot to read, and it helps if it's a little bit bigger.
Jessica's asking, can you do global search in 2 sections, like heavy in head and throat?
Absolutely. Let's do it. That would be a comprehensive search. Anytime you have more than one, you do have to come over to the comprehensive. And so if you're going to select repertories and then you come down to section, you said the head and the throat, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to apply those 2 sections, and we're going to put the word heavy up here. We're going to activate this search. And again, we filtered in repertories. And so here you can see it came in on head and throat for the complete 23, and any of these books. Interesting, the reliable, I think, only has X. So we should have selected all. Let's do that. Let's come in here. And we're going to filter for is section. It's still trying to think. Okay, head and throat. Whoops. I'm going to select all of these. Okay. It doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt. Now up in the quick filter, I think you have to pay a little bit more attention and keep it more keep it simpler. But here I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to apply this. And now I'm going to activate the search. And again, it can, as we saw before, complete has a head and a throat chapter. And in reliable, now you see head, throat internal, throat external. So it helped to broaden when you were in the more comprehensive filtering. Interesting. Nares doesn't have a head chapter. I'd be curious to see how Nares, or maybe there's no heaviness. It's possible that there's no heaviness in the head chapter, but let's just take a look at Nares. And see, Nares has inner head, outer head. So if I had gone in the head section of the filter, if I had selected all there, then I would have had Nares head choices for heavy. So yeah, does that make sense?
There's one other question here. Robert is asking about a search for shaking of the right hand when holding cup, glass, etc. So I guess it's like a tremor in the right hand when holding.
So shake, tremor, palsy maybe is another word. We could, just any words you can think of, Maggie. And then holding, you said, is the criteria there. So we'll do this. I'm going to take the filter off. We don't want the head and the throat only for this. In fact, we could filter for extremities, but let's just go ahead and don't have any filters, and we'll see what comes up. Interesting. Shaking, shivering, taking hold of anything. Let's look in the reliable. Okay, so interestingly, the complete didn't have much. Usually it has just as much as the reliable, but here I'm going to go into the reliables generalities. All right, so here's what I might do if I'm not fine. Let's go down to Murphy's. Yeah, these are all small.
The hold, I guess, is putting the...
Yeah, let me just say hold. did I say tremor before?
Yeah.
Trembling, we could try trembling. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so now interestingly, we got a result in the complete extremities, and that's kind of what I was hoping I would see. Here we are. So the word trembling, I had put tremor, and so you have to play around with words up there in global search and think of different variations of words and try them all. So trembling, holding objects. Is this the rubric you were looking for, Robert?
Sounds like it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good fit. And you could come to the reliables extremities. Take a look at that. Not even seeing.
Yeah, holding objects on.
Right. Okay, good. Any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
All right then. Well, thank you for attending. I really appreciate your being here and your contributing your questions, and I hope it's helpful to you. Our next training will be 2 weeks from today, I think. Wait. No, I think it's the 30th. I'm pretty sure I should look at this every time I do this. I'm pretty sure it's the 30th because Rupali is going to be going to Munich to be part of the Munich conference. And that's next weekend. And so I think we're stretching the training out to the 30th, but don't hold me to that because I'm not absolutely sure. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.